Hello, welcome back to the Black Sky Ranch. My name is Leo, and this is part 3 of A Beginner's Guide to the Apocalypse. So in the first 2 episodes, we discussed proper clothing, the things that we might carry in our pockets, and sort of a, second line gear, a small bag that goes with us everywhere. So we're kind of going to get into a third line, which we'll just call the day pack. So most of you watching this probably have a day pack. You use it for day hikes, you use it to bring your lunch to work, use it when you go to the beach just for your beach stuff. So it's not something you have to go out and buy any special thing. A lot of people though, they use like a canvas shopping bag, or they use a laptop bag or a messenger bag for bringing their laptop back and forth. So the suggestion is that you move up to a day pack for those uses, because it has more capacity when you need it. It's not going to be full, it's just going to be there for when you need it. So the day pack, for me, the main purpose is to transport things from my car or to my house, or from my house to the car, to the shop, and back. It's just for day-to-day transport. So most of the time it can be pretty much empty. You use it for whatever you need it for. If you bring a laptop back and forth, that's what you'd use it for. To bring your lunch, to bring your coffee cup, your insulated mug, your water, whatever. But it's just a transport device. So in my case, I use a bag this size, and although this one is not mostly empty, it has some of the stuff I use it for. One of the things is water. So this time of year, if I leave water in my car, it'll freeze solid. So I bring the water back and forth from the car to the house, from the house to the car. You get the idea. If I have an insulated mug of coffee that I'm going to bring with me in the morning, I have this dump pouch that I can stick that in. If I bring my fire radio, if I need a place to put that, I can just drop that in there. When it's not in use, it can just get folded up. It's totally out of the way. Now, being who I am, I have first aid stuff, probably more first aid stuff than the average person. But in sort of the front part, flat part, I just have some stop the bleed type stuff. Tourniquet, trauma shears, an extra bandana because it doesn't take up any room, and some trauma dressings for treating major bleeding. So that just stays in here. It's only this big, doesn't take up that much room. I also have something to write with and something to write on. So something to write with, something to write on. This is a neat little way to carry it. So I have the Sharpie, which we discussed in earlier episodes. You need to have a Sharpie, a space pen, supposed to be right anywhere pretty much. And I also have a mechanical pencil, because I find that they write better. Pencils write better on these write in the rain type tablets. So just a little write in the rain. I also, on the cover, on the yellow plastic cover of this one, I have some important phone numbers that I need to remember. Other information like that I want to kind of keep track of. Some phone numbers. I also keep a lens cleaning cloth for my eyeglasses or for binoculars or for whatever needs. And some cash. I don't know why I have $100 in cash in here, but it's probably a good idea. Just that I forget that I even have it in here, and so it doesn't do me much good if it's hidden. But now that I've seen it again, I'll hopefully remember that it's there. Yeah, in a disaster, a lot of times retail stores can't make sales if they don't have internet and if they don't have electricity, and so it ends up being cash only. So it's good to have some cash. Also to bribe border guards, but that's a different discussion we may have later. In the main pouch, my personal first aid kit. Again, the reason it's in here, I don't keep it in here. I transport it back and forth because in the wintertime things freeze. There's some eye drops in here, Visine type eye drops. They'll freeze, expand and break the container. Other things like ointments will freeze and swell and make a mess. So in the wintertime, this is something that's going to be carried back and forth. In the summertime, this is just going to stay in my vehicle or in my level 4 pack. But so kind of modular. I also have some odds and ends of string and tape. Kind of a pack rat. Little steel clips. That's just me. I don't necessarily have to have stuff like this. I just collect stuff, put it in a bag, got to stick it somewhere. Doesn't take up much room. This sack just has a GoPro camera in it, so that when I'm traveling to and from work or to and from wherever, and I see something I want to film, I've got a GoPro and a headband to hold it. Again, not something that lives in here, just something that I'm trying to get used to carrying around with me in case I see something I want to film that I can show you guys. Also, a chunk of mosquito net. And this I really like, has a lot of uses. Obviously, you get stuck someplace where you're being pestered by insects, you can get this over your head, tie it around, and protect yourself from the bugs. Also, it works as a face covering for warmth or concealment. It can be used as a neck bandana just to keep warm or to collect sweat. Also works well if you're gathering resources and your day pack is full. You can tie it up tie the corners together and make a bag and gather supplies, resources, whatever. This is a Cliff Bar. I love these because I hate these. I don't like eating them. This is a chocolate brownie. They're the heavy, gooey ones, and they're disgusting. To me, they're disgusting. So I keep it in here because I'm not going to eat it as a snack. I'm not going to eat it on a whim when I get bored. I'm only going to eat this in an emergency because otherwise, ugh. So that's why I like these. So if you're going to carry a little extra food, I mean, you can carry snacks in your day pack that you enjoy, but for emergency food, I find that that works well. Headlamp, if you watch the first 2 videos, we talked about headlamps. You're going to find them everywhere. In my small bag, I have one with the batteries in it, ready to go. In this secondary sort of bag, I have the batteries separate in a little plastic container so they don't corrode and wreck this. So that lives in here. In this, most of you probably recognize what that is. I have equipment that this feeds and in my car, and I just have an extra one in here, and that one kind of lives in here as well. It's just good to have extra ones around. In the bottom of this is a penny, and I don't know why. Oh, because it's a 1951 penny. So I found that somewhere and decided I didn't want to just stick it in with my pocket change, so I guess I tossed it in the bag. There's a water bladder holder in the back. And in this I have, these are just like superhero baby wipes. They're supposed to be special for firefighters and first responders to get cancer-causing chemicals off of you more easily. I don't know if there's any magic to it or if it's just super expensive baby wipes, but anyway, they stay in here as well. And the only other thing is a couple of zip ties. Some good electrician zip ties. They can be used to attach equipment to the outside of this pack. They could, you know, they can be used for. Very useful. And they stay in here. So of the stuff that actually stays, there's still a ton of room in this pack for, again, a laptop, a lunch, a beach towel, whatever. So again, I don't know if I mentioned the reason the water goes in and out. Doesn't, I don't keep it in my car because it freezes. So in the summertime, this would just be in my car. It would not be in this pack. The other feature of this is that if, for instance, you have your raincoat in here, and it rains on your way to work, you get wet, or you're on your little day hike, little short hike, it rains, your raincoat's wet, or your sweatshirt becomes too warm as you hike. You want to take it off. You can jam it in here, but jamming a wet raincoat in here just gets everything wet. A jacket may be actually too bulky, so I just keep this string on here, and that's just an extra bit of string. But what I do and have done is hook the carabiner to one of these things in the front, and then I can put my coat, whatever, in there, and it just hangs on the outside. Something light like a coat, a jacket, a sweater. It stays there pretty good, and I don't have to jam it inside. So there's another use for the carabiner. All right, so let's call that level 3. Before we get on to the level 4 bag, we want to talk a little bit about addictions. It's not a sermon about drug addiction. It's just our normal everyday addictions like caffeine, nicotine. You may have others. The point being that although having an addiction is going to be detrimental to our survival in the apocalypse, because we'll waste time, resources on trying to acquire the substances that don't contribute to our survival. But the apocalypse could happen tomorrow. You're not going to get off your addiction now, today. So, if you're addicted to caffeine, for instance, worst that's going to happen if you don't get your caffeine is you'll get a headache, which can be bad. And you know, when you're dealing with other issues, having a headache just makes it worse. Caffeine or nicotine, obviously, you don't want to be going through nicotine withdrawals while you're trying to make decisions and use your critical thinking. So what I recommend for is over-the-counter gum or pills. There's caffeine pills, wide-awake pills, whatever they call them, that you can store in your little bag. Nicotine gum, I'm pretty sure, is available over-the-counter in most places. I don't know about different countries, but a pack of that in there can get you by. Of course, you can also just keep extras on hand. You can have in here a way to make coffee or tea. You can keep coffee or tea in there. But some of you are addicted and don't probably even know it, like you Mountain Dew freaks. You drink 3-4 Mountain Dews a day. There's a lot of caffeine in that. You're probably addicted to caffeine. You get off of that, you don't get that for a few days or for a day or more, you're going to start getting a headache, and the severity of your headache will vary, but it's not going to be pleasant. So think ahead. Other addictions, I mean, if you're a crackhead, I got nothing for you. But there are medications that people take. There's behavioral health, mental health medications that you can't just stop taking. There can be serious medical issues with just going cold turkey on some of those medications. So, and you should know what they are. If you don't, talk to your doctor about the medications you take and about whether you're going to be able to keep an extra supply around. If your doctor is fellow survivalist, he may be able to get you a little ahead on your prescriptions so that you can have that extra 30-day supply. And obviously you would rotate them. You wouldn't just stick them in a bag in your pack and forget about them. It would be something you rotate through. So that's addiction. Going into this bag, I'm going to have to spread it out somewhere where it's easier to see, so that I'll have to reset for that. So let me just clarify the day pack system here, in case it wasn't clear. So the day pack is something we're going to be using every day for mundane things. The reason we're upgrading from our laptop bag or our big purse or our canvas shopping bag is because if the apocalypse strikes, we may not be able to get to our level 4. So the day pack is going to basically become your level 4. You're going to put your level 2 stuff in it, drop that in there, and then as you start gathering resources to help you get through the situation, you're going to use, this is going to be your main bag. In other circumstances where you have access to your level 4, anything useful in this one is going to go in here, and you could ditch this pack, or you could roll it up and stash it, tie it to the outside. But it's really just kind of a, in that case, it's just a stopgap until you can get to your bag. So the other thing I want to talk about before we get into the level 4, don't worry, we will get into the level 4. I'm just going to have to reset for that. Is talking about priorities of survival. Now the most common one you hear about is the rule of 3s, meaning that you can't survive for more than 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, etc. And that isn't really that accurate. It has its use to remind you to set a priority. But the priority is going to change depending on the situation. If you're in the middle of a tornado, then water is not your #1 priority. Shelter is. If you're on a tropical island with fresh water everywhere and food, food everywhere, shelter everywhere, then your priorities are going to be more about safety and escape. So it varies, but the point is that you need to set priorities, and that can change, over time. What's my #1 priority right now? Am I in the desert and I need water now or I'm going to die? Am I in the middle of a blizzard and I don't need any water? I could go a couple days without water. I just need to stay warm. So when you get in a situation, you sit down, you think, you have a cup of coffee, and set the priorities so you know where to start. One priority that isn't discussed as often is safety and security. Most of the time people are talking about sort of wilderness survival and local disaster survival, but security and safety is part of the priority. That may be your number one priority. Security, safety from attack, safety from weather events, safety from disease. That may be your number one priority. Safety and security. If there's people trying to get you or trying to get your stuff, then safety and security, escape may be the priority. So when you're thinking priorities, I think it was Cody Lundin wrote a book, and I don't remember the exact title, but it had to do with 98.6, which for you people in Canada, that's Fahrenheit, and that's normal body temperature. So all your priorities really boil down to keeping your body at 98.6. That may be shelter from the cold, or shelter protection from excessive heat. It could be food as far as calories. If you don't have calories, you can't keep your body temperature up. Water, the same thing. If messes the whole system up if you don't have enough water. Protection from injury or treatment of injury or illness, all has to do with maintaining your core temperature, as a lot of people say, at 98.6. So when setting priorities, just think about, use that as a guide to help you decide. So the next part of the video is going to be on the level 4 bag. I'm starting to lose the sun, and so I'm going to move inside and set this up. So that's going to have to be part 4 of a beginner's guide to the apocalypse. Simo, come. This is the dog. He's a beauty. He doesn't know he's on camera. This is Simo, the wonder dog. All right, till next time. Thanks for watching.